Good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well, and welcome to the debrief of Everton 1, West Ham United 1. This is the show where you are in charge. Well, I'm in charge. You get your comments in and see what you're saying. So if you're watching this live, welcome 9 a.m. on Sunday. That is commitment from those of you in the UK. Get your comments into live chat. Let's get them up on the screen. Let's see what you're saying. It could be about the game yesterday. It could be about Potter. Anything really, but around the game yesterday. Get your West Ham thoughts into the live chat. And if you're watching this a little bit later on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're a bit behind, get your thoughts into the comment section. We've got a big day ahead of us, not necessarily here in Hammers Chat. Football-wise, 12:30, Old Firm, Sheffield Derby. Take your pick. 1:30, Man United play someone, Leicester. Then we've got the Carabao Cup final. And then we've got another game. I think it's Man U Leicester later on, isn't it? It might be Arsenal-Chelsea at 1:30. There's football all day from 12:30 till 10 p.m. or something. Football. I'm loving it. Anyway, let's see what you're saying in the live chat. Simon's kicking us off and saying, definitely more than a signing or two. Quite a rebuild from a goalkeeper all the way through each third, but particular attention on the midfield so that we can progress the ball and control tempo. I've titled this video that Potter needs patience and a summer transfer, and there's a big rebuild required at West Ham. Again, because that was the vibe I was getting. I've noticed there was a real split in the review. So what I do on Sunday mornings, I'll go back and read the comments in I do a video after the game. The following day, I'll go on the comments first thing in the morning, reply to some people, see what they're saying. I do it throughout the day yesterday as well. And there's almost like two camps here, and they're not arguing at each other or anything like that, but there's almost two different popular sets of opinion. So camp one, you've got frustration. The football's perhaps a bit boring and they're a bit frustrated with the lack of attacking intent / action from us. There's a frustration, and I think that leads on to concerns perhaps about the long term of West Ham. And then you've got the other camp, which is just chilled out, patient, which is give Potter the summer transfer window. Forget yesterday. It doesn't matter. You feel like we're not attacking, etc. Forget it. It doesn't matter. This is not Potter's team. Wait till next season. And I've got a foot in each camp because I am frustrated, but I am also sort of waiting for him to have a transfer window. But I find it hard to not evaluate what he's done so far. And some people can. Some people in this chilled out camp are able to go, I'm not judging him at all. And that's okay. That's your opinion. I can't do that, though. I'd like to. I just can't do it. I watched the game yesterday. I have an opinion and I have feelings. I'm unable to just dismiss them. So I've got one in each camp. But this is the show where I want to see what you guys are saying. So the reason I put the title and thumbnail as it was, it doesn't necessarily reflect my opinions. It reflects those that I read, what I think is the majority from the review yesterday. Hammerite says, I don't believe Potter would have signed the deal without an insurance of Sullivan putting money behind his targets. He will know, by the way, we're playing midfield and striker needs sorting. The one thing I will say credit to this sort of the board is they tend to back the manager big time first. Funnily enough, Moyes was the one that didn't really get that back in immediately, but you could say he did, because in that January transfer window, when he came back the second time, we brought in Tomas Soucek and Jared Bowen. That's significant signings. But Pellegrini had a large sum of money to spend. Lopetegui had a large sum of money to spend. So usually they do give the new manager their first summer transfer window. Usually they get a decent bit of money to spend. Simon saying expect a few exits to fund the rebuild, including Kudus, Alvarez, Soucek, Emerson, and possibly a Gerd as well. Good morning, Mark. Stephen says, appreciate your passion and frustration, but I think there'll be another comment from Stephen later on. We'll get to you, Stephen. Lauren says 15 wins since January 2024 and record level of goals shipped. Fans just fed up and impatient for the light at the end of the tunnel. We're not shipping in goals now. Let Potter do his thing. Let's get behind him. Yeah, you can be both, Lawrence. You can be both. You can be impatient and fed up, but also behind Potter. I don't think it's one or the other. Be careful, says Potter's an average manager. Mark saying I drag myself out of bed. I get up. Hey, FYI, Mark, I'm up at 6 a.m. every day. It's not because of the little one. If anything, she sleeps longer than I do now. She didn't get up till 8 yesterday, lazy bugger. I get up at 6. Don't know, always have done. I've always just got up early. I like it. I find I don't want to turn Stephen Bartlett podcast style here. More Jake Humphreys, isn't it? He's the one that's just chats nonsense, doesn't he? I know I said this before, but I'll say it once more because it tickled me. He genuinely put up a post on LinkedIn about how him and his wife went to the pub at New Year's and they discussed 5 points as to what they could do better, etc. It was basically like a job review for your wife. Anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, sleeping until 7, 8, 9 in the morning, I think it's a waste of time. I feel like if I wake up at 9 a.m., I feel like I've wasted 3 hours of the day. I don't like doing that. So I get up bright and early every day. I sat down this morning. I've just listened to 2 other West Ham fans review. I watched Chris and Danny over on the Bobby Moore stand. I listened to their review. I've just listened to Gonzo's review. And I've just been doing Mark's fan cam to go up on this channel later on today. So I am productive and I love it. Devious is gutted with the result yesterday. It does, because you can see the last minute goal does feel like a loss. Adrian says playing 2 forwards producing insipid football. He does need time. The style has regressed and want to see something to grab onto over the summer. Gary saying, I think patience is the key word for now. I, for one, was sick of being pumped most weeks. It was embarrassing. He's prepared to see what the summer brings. Mr. A wants to know why Potter is wrapping Ferguson in cotton wool. Start him. He's not even our player. Yeah. Stephen says, here he is, but I think Potter is possibly just trying to not lose at the moment and steady the ship and knows this summer a lot of players will be leaving. Let's judge him next season if he's able to bring in. I have a question for... I'm not calling you out, Stephen. I'm genuinely intrigued, okay? I'm genuinely intrigued. How much... This is going to sound patronizing. I don't mean it to, but do you know... When people are saying, oh, no, be patient, wait for the summer, and then it'll be better next season, those people that believe it will just become good next season. How much did you watch Brighton under Graham Potter? That is a genuine question. And like I said, I'm not trying to be patronising. I have friends who watch West Ham and only West Ham. They know nothing about other Premier League clubs. They don't care about other Premier League clubs. They don't watch other Premier League football. They watch West Ham, and that's it. So when we go to play Everton yesterday, they will have heard of some players, but they probably wouldn't know who, say, Lindstrom was or Jake O'Brien was. They're probably thinking, who's this guy? I don't know who this guy is. I've not seen him before. But do you know what I mean? So that's my query. That's my thought process of those who think it'll get better next season. How much of Brighton under Potter? Because I have big concerns about Graham Potter. And I was hoping this season, now he would show me something that thinks, don't worry about your concerns. All he's done is strengthen my concerns about Graham Potter as West Ham manager. Everything I've seen just backs up my thoughts of Potter pre-West Ham, if that makes sense. So that's my question. That's my thought process. I don't know if anyone can answer it because you're basically going to have to say, I think it'll be better next season. And that's a bold claim to make. Clem are saying, do we think we have a home and away complex better away than home? To some extent, I think the style that the other team plays helps. It allows us to be a bit more pragmatic. Whereas at home, I think teams will walk up at the London Stadium. They'll be a bit more pragmatic as well and entice us out. And we haven't quite mastered that just yet, I don't think. Mark says, when Potter says, sorry, it's not happening fast enough, what does he actually mean? Attacking football? I think that's what he's implying. I'm not 100% sure. Infinitely saying we need to see Ferguson start and have a run in the team. He's only got 9 games left and he can't play against Brighton. Ryan saying, I know the video title mentions Potter, but do you think the board will give him the time and patience? I think so. I think under this board, you've got to be really bad to get sacked, right? I think you've got to be really, really bad. And I don't think he'll be that, despite my reservations. Like I said, my summary of Potter so far and how I think we will be next season is boring football, but very good at it. In the sense that I think we'll be very organised, we'll be hard to beat, but we just won't be free-flowing, attacking football or anything like that. And I know it sounds like a backhanded compliment, boring football, but bloody good at it. but I feel like it's a good way of summarising it. Let's call it something else if you want. Effective. There you go. Zach saying waiting until we're level and bringing a striker on was a bit silly. The subs could have been a little bit better. Lauren saying pointless playing Ferguson for the benefit of Brighton. We've got Fulkrug who we can sell for something if he's playing or might come good for us. Yeah, agree. But I think people are talking about playing Ferguson yesterday whilst Fulkrug was unavailable. Martin saying, don't make a mistake of letting what came before with Lopetegui distract. Good away point yesterday in a game. We'd have been distraught to lose. Ralph saying, judging what I'm seeing every game, I'm disappointed. Okay, we don't ship in 5 goals, but we seem a bit toothless size, trying to be patient, but the style of football's bothering him. Quiz says, I think Potter mostly has a free pass this season, but I can't understand what he's doing with Ferguson. Barely any minutes, and when he does play, it's when we've changed formation, so not a true test. That last part is a good thought process. I like that quiz. Nice one. Infinitely saying would like to see us back to the intensity as we had against Aston Villa in FA Cup. Somerville will be critical to that. Central midfield is a problem as it's too safe. Barry thinks it's a free hit for Potter this season. We will only see a difference when a load of our players go and Potter gets his own players. Then we can talk about Potter. Then I think you can talk about Potter whenever you wish, Barry. Curve Nord says would like to see Ferguson and Guilherme more, but if they're sacrificed for tighter defence, I'm relaxed enough to wait till next season. Okay, Curve Nord, can I ask you as well? Do you think once he gets the summer transfer window, we will be more attacking next season? I'm not going to say better, because I think we're good at the style of football we're playing now. I think we're good at it. Do you think we will be more expansive next season once he's had the summer transfer window? And if so, how much of Brighton under Potter did you watch? I'm genuinely interested. Jeff says striker midfield needs sorting, especially as I expect our most creative players in Paqueta and Kudus not be here. I think Paqueta will be, right? I don't know. Okay, this is me. I don't know. But I think he'll be found guilty. I think they've almost got to find him guilty. Otherwise, the FA are in a hell of a lot of trouble. So I think he'll be found guilty. This is my prediction. However, he will appeal it. And when your appeal is ongoing, you can continue to play football. So I think that by the time the appeal is done, it'll be beyond this season. And if his first appeal remains in England, and if that is no appeal, still guilty. If he goes to CAS, again, I believe he can still continue to play. And that's an even bigger court case, and that's over in Switzerland, and the threshold is a bit higher than it is for the FA with this civil case. I think even by the time that comes to conclusion, you're looking at, I don't know, a year, 18 months down the line. I think Paqueta, here's my prediction, Paqueta will be available for the entire season, regardless of the outcome. I think he'll be available for next season as well. And that's if he's found guilty with the process ongoing. Well, I don't know. That's just what I've read up on, and stuff like that. Mark saying there have been some new managers that click straight away. Others take time to build a good side. I'm hoping Potter is the latter. David says Potter is trying to sort defence out, which he has done. However, it's what I call teletext football. I'd be just as entertained watching the game on teletext as I would do watching the game. I've never heard that before. Thank you. Shustant says, let's not forget we are massive. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Helps out massively. Steve saying Everton was there for the taking at 1-0, but Potter held back. Should have brought Ferguson on and killed the game off. Bourne as a striker, not for him. Far more effective on the right. Joe is behind Potter, but is it time to admit he got it wrong with pushing for Ferguson? If we signed Silva, Brobby, or others, the other targets surely would have seen more minutes. That's an interesting way of looking at it. I think because there's nothing to play for, I think the frustration around Ferguson is less. Do you know we were playing for European football or in a relegation battle, one or the other? I think there'd be a big frustration right now. I'm unbothered because A, there's nothing to play for, but also B, I don't really want to sign Ferguson. So I'm not too fussed. I don't get it. I don't get why he's not playing. I think he should be playing, but I'm not that bothered by it for those two reasons. However, like I said, if the circumstances were different, I think there'd be a more, what Joe's saying here, I think that would be a bigger conversation, which is, well, hang on a minute, why didn't we go get someone else? We're missing out on points because we need points because of this. Jeffrey saying Potter inherited a mess. He started to sort out defence, so he'll need more time and some new players. Mark saying Andre Silva scored yesterday. I seen Robbie scored in the Europa League. And the Jordan Henderson team, who's only started 2 of their last 9 games and is in the England squad. Daniel saying first time conceded a goal in injury time, which is gutting. I wonder if we went behind 1-0 if we would have equalised last minute. Can't see it happening at the moment. I would suggest no. Newcastle's a good chance. Newham saying what's going on with Ferguson, seems to be getting less and less game time. I don't understand why we signed him if we don't plan on using him. Daniel said the defence is pressing forward too much and the front line is not confident enough in going forward as a unit. I believe this is down to our midfield. Gary is saying he didn't watch Brighton under Potter. I'm aware of some of the types of players he had at Brighton, those in midfield especially, and those players would improve us. Mancunian is saying he'll never get the best from Bowen and Kudus in this system. They're wide players, dangerous from picking the ball up deep and running at a full-back. Agree. Steve saying Ferguson's a waste of time, send him back if he isn't going to play. Should have sold Guilherme in January, as it seems he's not good enough. Ice says, glad we didn't lose. Certain we would. Belcar saying, what are people's expectations with Potter? If anyone's ever challenging for European football is deluded. We brought in a project manager and he's doing his job creating a project system that Lopetegui didn't. Victor saying Moyes did something he never did at West Ham, which was to make 5 subs. He was desperate not to lose. Let's have a look and see what you're all saying. John saying thank you to Tomas Soucek. Infinitely saying Potter at Brighton would be a good video, especially it could be supported by data. I always thought it would take time, and a transitioning style is not like switching a switch. Paul saying at least we didn't lose, but disappointing overall. Would have liked to have seen us get more on the front foot after scoring. Instead, we sat back Moyes style and we got what we deserved. Paul said, if this is Potter's style, then it's not going to sit well with a lot of fans, him included. I just hope we get more aggressive going forward. Paqueta, Kudus, Bowen. Come on. Those 3 should be giving the opposition some fear. I'm kind of a bit like Paul. I've got a similar mindset to Paul. While we're here, just a quick bit of admin. Don't worry, the video's not sponsored. You know, we get a brand deal thrown at you. 3 things. 1, Mark's fan cam will be up later. It's good. I like it. But if you want to watch it immediately after this video, the link is in the description below. And he's talking about Bowen not being a striker and his frustration around Potter using David Bowen and not Evan Ferguson. So check that out. 2, our online store got a bit of a sale at the minute. More things will be getting added, but you go check it out if you want. There's a couple of some nice bits on there. Some nice West Ham books being reduced, 20% off, 30% off and stuff. HammersChatStore.com. And lastly, our Patreon. You fancy giving it a go? Go to patreon.com/HammersChat. We'll be live tomorrow morning with the player ratings, where we go through they're live in the subs and Graham Potter. Give them a mark out of 10, but it's more to trigger a discussion around the performances of those, but also all marks go towards the Hammers Chat Hammer of the Year award. Anu Wan-Bissaka, perhaps unsurprisingly, is winning it so far. But patreon.com/Hammers Chat, you can support the channel. If you took Patreon away, we wouldn't be making videos on YouTube. It's as simple as that. And, you know, things ain't great at the minute, so the more people that join up, the better. Mark says, the kids apart, how many of this squad are good enough to take us top 6, 4, 5? Take out the ones we know are leaving or whatever reason. We probably need 15 players. It's just not going to happen. Kevin saying the midfield's too slow. Don't think we missed Alvarez as he's not offered anything this year. Sai saying one of his best friends supports Brighton and got very frustrated with Potter, but he loved De Zerbi. Curvin saying not expansive, but once defence sorted, the midfield and attack will improve. Yes, Brighton under Potter wasn't that entertaining, but hopefully he knows what the fans demand. Gaza saying he's glad Moyes got a great reception. There's a lot of respect from Moyes to players and fans. I agree. I liked it. I've seen a couple of clips of him cuddling some former players and the West Ham fans singing to him and stuff like that. I like it. It's I like the Luton, when we played Luton his last home game. I liked the ovation he got as he was waving goodbye to the crowd. I liked what he got yesterday. it's respectful between both parties. And like I said in the pre-match press conference, I think David Moyes has been very, very respectful towards West Ham, the fans, the players, everything to do with West Ham. He's only said nice things about us, to be honest with you. And that goes a long way for me. I like it a lot. Jay saying doesn't think Ferguson's playing because we won't sign him and we don't want to get him in form at West Ham. Belcar says, wonder if Potter's going to play Wan-Bissaka as a wing-back or not next season, saying that we need an out-and-out wing-back for that position. Mark says perhaps Ferguson was signed purely for cover and not as a first-team signing insurance. Well, I think that's true, Mark. I think this is where we need the insurance because we've got no other striker at the minute. Don't know. So we're saying Ferguson isn't playing because none of our midfielders are capable of playing in midfield 2 and not getting outrun and outpassed. Overhaul the midfield this summer, then judge Graham Potter. Steve saying Wan-Bissaka's not in the England squad. What a joke. Top 6 bias yet again. Walker, James, Henderson in squad. It's pathetic. I kind of get it. I think he maybe deserves it. But you look at the Everton goal yesterday, and he's just, I don't know how to describe switching off. Is that the right? I don't think he is because he's aware Alcaraz away cross it. He just doesn't have a desire to get out and close him down. And it happens too often, Wan-Bissaka switching off. I think he's had a good season. He's a bloody good player, don't get me wrong. But it's not like he's without his faults. And I think those instances, they're not great. Saying that, I don't agree with Reece James being in the squad, by the way. I'm not saying that he deserves to be in, but put it this way. I've seen the England under 21 squad. I think the England under 21 squad would beat the England senior squad if they were to have a game. I think there's more talent in there than there is in the senior one. Wan-Bissaka should maybe have been in, certainly not John Henderson. I don't know why I have an opinion on the England team. I shouldn't do, but I do. But oh, by the way, bloody I only just thought, oh, well, no West Ham for a couple of weeks. Wrong. I've got Mavropanos coming up. Where Scotland, we play Greece in the Nations League. So I'm going to be watching us up against, I'm going to be watching Mavropanos twice. This time I'll be hoping he does make a mistake. I'll be praying that we can get big mistake Mavropanos, which, by the way, I don't think Mavropanos made a big mistake yesterday. At the end, with the ball going through his legs, sure. But I've watched the goal back, I reckon 10 times. I'm that sad. The goal we conceded. And I've seen loads of people blame Mavropanos. Loads of them. I'm not sure he's the one most at fault. I think there's like 4 or 5 players more at fault than Mavropanos is, to be honest with you. I think what makes it look bad for Mavropanos is he's the one closest to O'Brien when he scores. But I don't ever think it was O'Brien's man. I watched it. I thought, right, where's Wan-Bissaka? Because not closing it down. Okay, Wan-Bissaka, bad man, move on. Who's next? Carlos Soler with Gay doing the run. Yeah, not good enough. Right, who's next? Right, where's Jacob Bryan? So I've been doing the sad thing of player cam when the ball's getting crossed in twice. I'm watching him. And at Mavropanos initially is trying to close down the initial shot, gets saved. And then the ball goes out, it gets crossed over to Gay, then it comes back in. Tadebo's bloody on a penalty spot for some reason. Soucek was marking O'Brien and then gets dragged in with the shot. And then he just switches off. He's ball watching. And I feel like Mavropanos has been harshly done by, actually, in terms of the criticism for that goal. I think he's just the one next to O'Brien. Truth is, no one covers themselves in glory. I think there's 4 or 5 players at fault for that goal. And I think that Mavropanos was the one least at fault out of those, personally. So I actually think he had an all right game yesterday, Mavropanos. Certainly one of his better ones. Matt saying, sometimes it's not the manager, but it's the players. Seems whatever manager we have, it's the same old West Ham. Quiz saying the pitching is amazing and paying them to say that. And thank you, Quiz. I appreciate the live TripAdvisor review. Barry saying, since Moyes took the Everton job, I found myself missing him, not saying I want him back, but he's done a lot for West Ham. Cheers, Moyes, and good luck. Daniel saying, what midfielder? Stiller of Stuttgart. YouTube him. Don't do that. You might see some highlights. He's a deeper midfielder, but I think there'll be a lot of clubs after him. But he's got a release clause as well, which speeds up. There's no negotiations to be had. Remove something that we're perhaps not the best at. So have a look. Stiller, Stuttgart, incredible midfielder. Joe saying, sorry to tread all ground, but stadium, what's the situation of ownership? Understand Canada's against it. We might do something like that. We've got the internet. Look, Joe, we've got the international break. We're going to get a bit desperate here for content. But what we always do in international break is put up a post on the community post bit of the channel and say, give us your topic suggestions, and we cover as much as we can. That'll be coming. So if people want us to do a stadium video, pop it in there. I'm trying not to because I feel like I've gone in two-footed a little bit on the stadium in recent weeks. But if it's what people want to see, I'm happy to talk about it. Mark, thank you so much for the £5 super chat. Says, keep up the good work. Hope the channel continues to go. Technically, it does. More subscribers every month. But the way West Ham have been, so no European football's hurt Hammer's chat. And also, people just getting bored of West Ham, I guess, with Lopetegui. And Potter hasn't helped. So it's sort of Hamish chat-wise, it's not been the best season for us, but more subscribers. But thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. Victor, do you think Soucek will end up at Everton? It's possible if David Moyes really wants him and Everton are willing to put the cash on the table. I don't see why a deal wouldn't be done. But at this point, I'm going to say no. I think Potter really likes him. James, E20 Zone TV, YouTube channel for West Ham fans. If you've already subscribed, good. If not, after this video, watch Mark's fan cam and then put Stiller Stuttgart in, watch him, and then put in his 20 Zone TV and subscribe and go check out his content. James says, we're gambling on the summer window to be spot on. When do we ever get it right? I think need to get the best out of the current players at the club. Relying on the summer transfer window is a gamble. I completely agree with every word of that. Ryan saying, I watched Potter at Brighton, but I didn't watch enough to form an opinion about him. When I did watch them, they were good at times, but it's definitely not going to be an instant fix. Good morning to Hammer Man. Hammer89 says he's rubbish. He's no different to Moyes or the Spanish geezer. Badly saying we've got no choice. There's a lot of players that are contracted in the summer. Will be a big rebuild. Then we'll see what players Potter wants to bring in. Ralph saying when Mavpanos dummied over the ball and Kilman had to do that amazing tackle, gave me a heart attack. Do you know something? I wish I had a tinfoil hat. I don't think it's the worst decision by Mavpanos. It was a little bit heart-in-mouth moment, but Areola gets that. So arguably, Mavpanos has read it correct because he stepped over it, and the keeper Areola would have got there. He just didn't because Kilman got there first, but he was ahead of the Everton player or a keeper. And B, it only looked bad, I think, because Kilman didn't expect it. So Kilman panicked. So when Mavpanos dummied it, Kilman was jogging and seen the Everton player and start sprinting and did a slide tackle. But I think he got there comfortably, Kilman did. And that was after a scare. Yeah, Mavpanos should have probably cut it out, but I don't think it was that big a deal, to be honest with you. Areola could have had that one. Quiz saying it was such a good ball across from Gay that even if Mavpanos and any other player touched it, it would possibly be an own goal. Steve's late to the party. Am I the only one who thinks Wan-Bissaka had a poor game by his standards yesterday? Mind you, still agree he should be in the England squad. Yes, I think he had a poor game. I'm not going to give him a bad rating tomorrow, but I haven't thought about it. Maybe a 5 out of 10 average. I think he was partly at fault for the equaliser. Steve said Ward-Prowse made some good passing yesterday. I agree. Some nice diagonals from him. David saying there are too many similarities between the goal conceded yesterday and the one against Newcastle, which is not coming to my head immediately. James is saying that when Mavpanos jumped over the ball, it's a sackable offence. Jake saying why we crap at throw-ins. Do you know something? This is going to sound really geeky. I was speaking to a throw-in coach. Honestly, it's a thing. There's throw-in specialists. Now, obviously, West Ham don't have one. But the guy I was speaking to is actually a freelancer. And he's worked for with big clubs. He went to Galatasaray, I think, for a month or something like that. And I think his point was, you get 25 of these in a game. Why would you not pay attention to them? Why would you not make the most out of? You get 25 of these situations in a match. That's a lot. And his job is to go in and teach teams how to get the most out of throw-ins, but also defend throw-ins as well. And I'm going to try and do a video with him. I've offered him to come on and basically get him to evaluate West Ham's. It sounds so crap out loud, doesn't it? It sounds so boring. Hey guys, might have a video for you coming up. How would you like to hear a throw-in coach analyze West Ham's throw-ins? That's exciting, isn't? How do I even possibly sell that? But I think it'd be I think it would be interesting. I do. I think it would be. Well, it is for me. I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to football. That's why I like Monday Night Football, when they get a decent guest on and they explain the tactical side of stuff and dumb things down for me. I like it. I like absorbing stuff like that. So anyway, throwing coach, maybe coming to Hammers Chat. Depends if I can afford him. I might do. Thanks to Shashant and Mark, I might be able to get him on and chat to me, because the problem is that's his job. He's a freelancer. His job is to do these throw-ins, so I've got to pay him to watch West Ham's throw-ins and then analyze them and whatever. Maybe I'll sell the findings to West Ham. Paul says, we all know the squad needs a huge overhaul, but if rumours are right, we don't have much cash in the kitty. So what youth can we bring up? Luckily, we've got quite a few, but we've also got, I think, youth players that could command a little bit of money as well. Paul, we would take 15 to 20 million for Soucek. He would. Yeah, probably. I think I would. It's not even just a style of play. It's his age as well. You know, he's 30. As is James Ward-Prowse. I don't think you can afford to let both of them run their contracts down and go on a free. I think you've got to. This is the thing. Now, Danny Ings hasn't worked out, but let's pretend for a minute Danny Ings has worked out. Okay, so Antonio's here. He's all good. He's not crashed his car. Antonio's playing at the minute. He's all right. He's 35 years old. Contract's coming to an end. He's doing okay. Danny Ings is here. Cost 15 million. He's doing all right this season as well. They're both doing okay. Average. Season's coming to an end. We're looking at our strikers. Antonio's out of contract. Ings out of contract. That's a bad situation to be in. You have two players in the same position out of contract, and you're going to have to replace both of them. Now, we're in that situation, but because neither are offering anything at this point, it's not a big miss. It's not a big loss. But with Soucek and Ward-Prowse, this is my point. We can't afford them both to walk out the club for zero money at the end of the contract. You've got to cash in at some point. Even to get something. And also, because of the way PSR works, Soucek's been here 2020, weren't it? 2025 now. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Yeah, I think this will be he's cleared now. I'm trying to work out the accounting. Let me turn the light up a bit. The sun's gone down, right? So because of the way PSR works and the way that accounting works in terms of your transfer fees, his 20 million in total would have been split over his contract. I think that's finished now. So if we sell Soucek in the summer transfer window, I think, if not, I'm out by one season, which is 4 million. I think Soucek would be considered pure profit. It's gone too bright now, isn't it? Let me turn that back. So he'd be considered pure profit. So if we sold Soucek for 20 million, Soucek would be considered as 20 million profit on the accounts for PSR, which is significant when it comes to selling player. Again, a bit geeky, a bit boring, a bit sad. One person once before, I kid you not, one subscriber, I don't know if it was a subscriber, it might not have been, hopefully it wasn't. One person accused me of making up PSR. Said, you're making up things as to why the board aren't spending money, you're protecting them, making this up. Yes, mate, I'm making up PSR rules, that's right. And it might have been the same, it wasn't the same one, but someone once accused me of making up squad registration rules for European football. Said, homegrown things doesn't exist. What are you saying this for? We can sign as many players as we want. Honestly, these people never heard of Google. How have they made it onto YouTube and found a West Ham channel, but they don't know how to Google PSR rules, Premier League, and just realise it's actually a thing? Anyway, ranting away. Paul saying we seemed to play it back to Areola less yesterday. Guessing Potter hasn't seen he can't be used that way. We didn't have the ball as much, I think. That was the problem. James saying 11 points and 24 available, acceptable or not under Graham Potter. I'm not that arsed. No is the answer. you know, if you were to rectify that next season, what's that to? Trying to work out how many games and stuff this is. So that's 8 games, 16, 32 and a bit. So 44, about 50 points, 52 points maybe. What we'd get next season. It's not the worst, I guess, but I want a bit more. But I'm not that arse this season. Next season I want to see points on the board. It depends how much you want to break it down. I think, you know, 1 point from Everton and Newcastle, not good. 4 points from, or flip it around, 7 points from Arsenal, Leicester, Newcastle, Everton, a good return. So I'm going to say no, but I'm unbothered by it. The sponsors late was up for the F1. That kept me awake in the middle of the night, unlike yesterday's football. Although I'm not going to stress until Potter has had time. Steve said, I think the problem is not so much the throw-ins, but our inability to retain possession. It's when we try a long throw that we're really poor. Ben, another West Ham channel, who I don't know if do you still do videos, Ben? I haven't seen a video from you from ages. Anyway, Ben used to be a West Ham channel. It still is a West Ham channel, but there you go. Right, so you go onto YouTube, you watch Mark's fan cam, then you check Stuttgart, then you go to E20's own TV, then you go to the Ben Glander West Ham YouTube channel. Anyone else with a YouTube channel? Anyway, Ben says, context has to be used in regards to the 11 points from 24, which is the teams were faced and who you had available. In my opinion, the only 2 real disappointing games are Palace and Brentford. Yeah, fair. That's fair. Steve said, who actually thinks Sullivan's going to get us pure quality in the summer? Warden saying, I think Potter's building from the back. This time next year, we will be a top 6 club. I hope you're right, Warren. If this time next year we are 6, please come back and gloat. And you'll be much welcomed. Just like Mark Dunn. Mark Dunn said to me, this was like when Moyes came back. Do you know when COVID was a thing and there was no football? That part. So we're in a relegation battle here. We were getting ready for our relegation tournament when Mikel Antonio would go bang 4 in at Norwich. Mark Dunn said, David Moyes will get us European football. And I laughed at him. I said, no chance. You're off your rocker. Mark Dunn. When we won the Conference League final, Mark Dunn was there. I was next to Mark Dunn. And Mark said to me, I told you. Love it. I absolutely love it. He didn't claim he'd win it, but he claimed he'd get us European football. I've never been so happy to be wrong. Lee saying we're shipping many goals, but dull with a mess up front and midfield, but there's not much else we can do. Steve said, all this talk about David and Gomez, it's BS. The thing is, though, the one thing I will say, it's not coming from David Sullivan. The rumours around Gomez and David are not coming from the club. I see this. You're not the first person, Steve, and you're possibly just reading or hearing from other people. But the rumours around Gomez and Jonathan David are coming from the agents. It's not David Sullivan. He's not the one putting this news out there. I said, oh, yeah, we're trying to sign these players and stuff. It's not the club. I'll be the first person to call bollocks on the transfer rumour, such as John Duran in January transfer window. That one was just bullshit from the word go. And I'll point the finger at Sullivan and say bullshit when I think it is. But on this one, I find it hard to blame him for rumours that's not coming off the back of him. And if I see one more person, I know someone's going to say it now, if I see one more person say it's to get people to renew their season ticket, honestly, who renews their season ticket based off a transfer rumour? I've literally never met anyone in my life that goes, West Ham are linked to Jonathan David, must renew my season ticket immediately, loving this. Yes, we might get to see Jonathan David. I'm paying 700 quid off the back of a transfer rumour. It doesn't happen. No, nobody's ever done it. Myth. Absolute myth. And Ben saying that he hasn't posted in a few years. He can't change the name of his channel. Just keep it. It's all right. Ben Glander, West Ham fan channel. Just keep it. Barney saying how much money is available in the summer. It depends who you believe. Do you believe David Sullivan, which is not much, or do you believe others who are saying the club should have a decent bit of moolah? And James is saying if we get the players needed to sell, who we need to sell, what the expectations. Challenging for European football. It has to be, I think. When I say challenging, I don't mean qualifying. It's not, you don't qualify, it's a failure. I mean, I'm using this season as the reason for that. Fulham are challenging for European football. They're sitting 10th. Well, they were sitting 10th in the league, but the top 8 are likely going to get European football. For the 5th spot to be Champions League football in the Premier League this season, one English team needs to win one game in the quarterfinals. It doesn't matter who it is, and it doesn't matter which competition. One English side needs to win one game. Now, they've got some difficult games. Villa have got PSG, and Arsenal have got Real Madrid, and I don't know who the other teams have got, but one win, then 5th is Champions League. So it's pretty much done. Assuming Newcastle finish in the top 5, 6, or Liverpool win the Carabao Cup today, that means 7th gets European football. So we're looking at possibly 8 being European football. I don't think it's a stretch to say Potter should be aiming to try and finish 8th in the league next season. Whether that gets European football or not, we don't know. But that's got to be the aim, isn't it? 8th. I don't think it's an unreasonable request to finish top of the middle third of the Premier League. I don't feel that's unrealistic, but that's what I'm hoping that we do. Oh, crikey, 40 minutes. Right, I'm going to take 1 or 2 more comments and disappear. Freedom Sounds, I can with it now. I can take losing, but we're spanked on a weekly basis. 8 players from Moyes' team yesterday. Judge Potter with his own players. The future is bright. That's a good... I'm going to leave it there. I am going to leave it there. I think that's a good comment to finish it up on. Anyway, thank you very much to everybody that's joined me, whether you're watching live or later on in the day or a different day. Please do drop a like on the video by clicking thumbs up. Subscribing to Hammers Chat. Enjoy the football today. We've got a massive day of it. And if you're a patron, I'll see you in the morning with the player ratings. And if you're not a patron, go search Mark's Fan Cam. Links in description. Catch you in a bit.